Welcome to spSPHERE Finance. I am Price Time and you're watching spSPHERE TV. When spSPHERE transitions to spSPHERE v3, the tokenomics of spSPHERE will change significantly. Currently, the best way to use your spSPHERE tokens is to play spSPHERE games. Here, the deposited spSPHERE becomes tSPHERE or ticket spSPHERE. Players earn drip rewards in the form of spSPHERE tokens and automatically participate in weekly drawings to win from the prize pool, with 20 winners each drawing. Players can cash out their tSPHERE back to spSPHERE at any time, bearing in mind that there is a 14-day early withdrawal tax. spSPHERE Games is not inflationary. Rather, spSPHERE drip rewards and prize pool winnings come from taxes. This makes spSPHERE Games a way for the spSPHERE treasury to redistribute ecosystem earnings back to spSPHERE holders. But with spSPHERE v3, ecosystem earnings will expand to include blue chip tokens and will be distributed to veSPHERE and spSPHERE holders. Rather than being a single stake system like spSPHERE Games, both veSPHERE and spSPHERE will require users to either vote lock or liquid stake a spSPHERE LP that is weighted 80-20, where 80% is spSPHERE and 20% is another token. This accomplishes several things. Primarily, this will ensure that spSPHERE's liquidity grows as users take part in the ecosystem earnings. The weighting of the LP as 80-20 also reduces the impact of impermanent loss. But before we talk about the impact of impermanent loss on veSPHERE, we have to first define it. Impermanent loss refers to the loss of value that occurs from providing liquidity versus simply holding the tokens separately in your wallet without providing liquidity, and is a direct consequence of the X times Y equals K mathematical model of automated market makers. Right away, this means that the value of the tokens themselves declining is not the same as impermanent loss. If you have two tokens you are providing liquidity for and they both go down by the same percentage, then you will not experience any impermanent loss, but the value of your LP will be lower. So, impermanent loss is not tied to the change in value of your LP. Rather, it is tied to the relative change in value between the two paired tokens. This highlights another point about impermanent loss, which is that it really does not become significant unless one of the tokens in your LP position has a very significant price change relative to the other. More highly correlated assets such as ETH and Matic will have a lesser degree of impermanent loss compared to lower correlated assets such as Matic and USDC. This is all much better illustrated with some examples. First, consider if the LP contained largely uncorrelated assets like Matic and USDC split 50-50. If Matic changes by 100% and USDC stays the same value as a stablecoin, the resulting impermanent loss would be 5.72%. Now consider an LP of correlated assets. ETH and Matic, for example, historically have been 75% correlated. So if ETH changes by a significant degree, let's say 100%, then we can anticipate Matic also changing by at least 75%. This results in a tiny impermanent loss of just 0.22%. Now currently, spSPHERE is paired 50-50 with USD+. With the average APY of USD Plus on Polygon sitting at 9.6%, a 100% change in the price of spSPHERE would result in a 4.36% impermanent loss. However, recall that with sphere v3, sphere's LP will be split 80-20 between sphere and another asset. Let's compare the impermanent loss of pairing sphere v3 with USD Plus versus Matic as examples. So now with an 80-20 pairing and that same 100% change in sphere with a 9.6% change in USD Plus, the resulting impermanent loss drops from 4.36% with a 50-50 LP to just 2.52% with an 80-20 LP. Now, since ETH and Matic are approximately 75% correlated, let's assume that sphere and Matic are also 75% correlated. With the 80-20 pairing, a 100% change in sphere with at least a 75% change in Matic results in only 0.14% impermanent loss. In fact, even if the correlation between Matic and sphere turns out to only be 25%, the resulting impermanent loss is only 1.59%, and that increases only slightly to 1.91% if Matic had the greater change relative to sphere. As you can see from these different scenarios, impermanent loss is inevitable, but not as bad as you might think. Also, for those willing to pay that price of impermanent loss, it is likely a small price to pay, considering that sphere v3 will earn rewards from the entire sphere ecosystem, distributed mainly as Dyson LPs to veSPHERE and spSPHERE holders. If you're interested, I encourage you to play around with an impermanent loss calculator to see for yourself how different LP scenarios would work out. The best place to stay up to date on announcements or contact us is through the Sphere Finance Discord. Check the description below for official links. You can also leave us a comment below and we will do our best to help. After all, this video and channel is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Thanks for watching, and always remember that you matter for who you are. Rather, it is tied to the relative change in value between the two paired